Welcome everyone. I'm excited to be here today. Today's presentation is titled, Conditions of Mufasir. We'll be exploring the key qualities and requirements for someone who wishes to become a Mufasir. In the next few minutes, I'll cover the essential conditions and what makes a successful Mufasir. Let's get started. When we talk about a correct belief, it's essential to understand that the person interpreting the Quran, known as a Mufasir, must first and foremost have a sincere and true belief in Islam. This is vital for ensuring that their tafsir, or interpretation, remains pure and free from heresy or serious errors. Now, simply believing in Islam doesn't automatically mean that one's beliefs are correct or authentic. True belief exists only when your understanding of Islam aligns closely with what the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, and his companions understood and practiced. If someone lacks proper knowledge about what constitutes correct belief in Islam, they are likely to fall into mistakes when explaining the Quran. This ignorance makes it difficult for them to distinguish between correct and incorrect interpretations. As a result, they might rely heavily on personal judgment, which becomes compromised due to their lack of proper understanding. It's also important to note that correct belief should be non-sectarian. This means it should be free from the influence of different philosophies, schools of thought, or sects that can distort the true message of Islam. A Mufasir should approach the Quran without preconceived ideas or biases, trying to find support for their views within the Quran itself. When they don't do this, and instead try to fit the Quran into their personal or sectarian notions, it often leads to misinterpretations and sectarian explanations. In summary, having correct and sincere belief is fundamental for anyone who seeks to interpret the Quran properly. It ensures their understanding remains true to the authentic teachings of Islam, free from innovation or error. Let's discuss the correct methodology for tafsir, which is essential for understanding the Quran properly. All honest attempts at tafsir must start with the Quran itself. This means that we first look to the Quran to interpret and explain its own verses. If there are parts that remain unclear, then we turn to the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, for further clarification. If we still haven't fully understood, the next step is to consider the explanations of the Sahaba and their students, as they are the most direct successors in understanding the Quran's message. Only after these steps, when the meaning is still not clear, do we look into the language of the Quran itself, understanding the context, grammar, and vocabulary of classical Arabic. This approach respects the roles assigned by Allah. He is the ultimate revealer and explainer of his revelation. The Prophet, PBUH, is the practical interpreter. The Sahaba and their students are the transmitters of that understanding, and classical Arabic is the language through which the message was conveyed. Any deviation from this process can lead to claims of direct divine revelation or knowledge superior to that of the Prophet, PBUH, and his companions, which is problematic. Some who ignore these steps might claim divine inspiration or illumination, but such claims often lack the proper foundation and can distort the true understanding of the Quran. So, maintaining this step-by-step, grounded approach ensures we respect the roles Allah has given in the process of tafsir and helps us stay true to the authentic understanding of the Quran. When we talk about correct knowledge for a Mufasir, it's crucial to understand that having a solid grasp of classical Arabic is fundamental. This means understanding its grammatical structures and figures of speech, because Arabic is the language of the Quran. Relying solely on translations can lead to distortions, so a deep knowledge of the original language is essential. As Mujahid, a student of Ibn Abbas, emphasized, it's not permissible for anyone who truly believes in Allah and the Last Day to interpret the Quran without proper Arabic knowledge. This highlights how vital linguistic competence is in tafsir. But language isn't enough on its own. A Mufasir should also be familiar with other Islamic sciences that connect to the Quran, such as hadith and fiqh. For example, understanding the science of hadith, or usul al-hadith, helps ensure that the explanations attributed to the Prophet, PBUH, or his companions are authentic. Additionally, knowledge of usul al-fiqh, or the fundamental principles of Islamic law, allows the Mufasir to accurately derive legal rulings from the Quranic texts. Without these sciences, a tafsir risks becoming filled with misinformation, especially considering how many weak or fabricated narrations exist and how diverse the schools of fiqh are. So, in essence, correct knowledge isn't just about language, but also about connecting the dots across various Islamic sciences to produce a reliable and authentic tafsir.